Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you could see it and you could purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. Today we are discussing a horological giant, not just for its 46mm stainless steel case, but because this Breitling Transocean Chronograph Unitime is one of the most complicated Breitling watches ever made. Launched in 2012, this is a large-scale tribute to vintage Breitling watches, and I have to say that the timepiece feels like an enormous version of the 1950s Breitling 1260 Unitime. Now, the watch on my wrist is a manufacturer movement product, and given its size, it's not actually that thick. At 15.6 millimeters, you can see that it actually sits fairly flat as a 46 millimeter. It's a nice size equivalent to something like an IWC Big Pilot if you want a little bit less of a military aesthetic and some more complicated functionality. Lug-to-lug, big watch. You're going to find that this is a 58.4 millimeter watch, lug-to-lug, tip to tip, 24 millimeters, the spacing between the lugs, and you could put a strap in there with a 24 millimeter spacing, but the watch actually comes with Breitling's best bracelet, the Ocean Classic. Now you can see here it's going to be described as the Air Classic because this is an aviation themed watch, but it's the same bracelet. Straight bar look evocative of the 1950s and 60s, and then mesh. And the mesh consists of many individual tiny links, with the result that it has an impossibly supple feel. It has great structural integrity, and as you can see, the tolerances are immense, but it has wonderful flexibility. And you can see that it's actually a conventional bracelet in terms of construction because you can remove individual removable links and they are fixed in place by screw, and that on both sides of the clasp. So many small removable links, you can get a very precise fit here. There's also 4 divots drilled inside the clasp to allow you to make adjustments using a conventional strap tool, and there's a single fold deployment. You can see all of high polish internally, and then there is a clamshell locking system to keep it all secure. Rolling back to the case, I mentioned that it's vintage inspired in form, not necessarily in size. The size is huge, but you can see that there are a couple of handsome nuances worked in, like a sharp break between the case band and the lugs, as well as a little bit of an inverse stepped case back that makes the watch look thinner when it's on the wrist, plus gracefully arcing lugs with a little bit of a transitional bevel on their side. There's a flat conical bezel, and as you can see, a little bit of a box section of the sapphire, so Breitling not going with the cheaper flat sapphire here, adding a little bit of camber. The dial is where I most immediately recognized the 1950s reference 1260 Unitime, a Felsa-powered timepiece that was one of the earliest world time watches, or at least earliest mainstream world time watches from a mass production brand. Here you can see that the dial consists of 24 principal time zones outboard, and these principal time zones represent the world's 24 principal time zones. You'll also note that everywhere you see a red dash next to one of the cities, such as New York, that represents a city that uses summertime, so make your adjustments accordingly. Now the timepiece is adjusted by using an intermediate position of the crown to change the reference city at 12 o'clock. So let's say I want to set my home city of New York. It's also my time zone since I am in Philadelphia, USA. I set New York up at 12 o'clock, and then if I want to set everything in sequence, now I pull the crown out all the way, and you can see only the world time reference ring moves. So I just look adjacent to the city, and let's see, I'm in New York, so I know, for example, that it is 12 midnight because I'm looking at 24, whereas in Denver, it is still 10 p.m. the previous night. Take a look at the dial, and you can see there are all applique, rhodium-plated, diamond-polished steel indices, as well as a geosphere-style globe with a little bit of a gradient, as it's a sort of blue-gray at its center and then black at its outer face. Chronograph registers for minutes as well as hours, and you can see they even made a little bit of a nod to the 1950s and 40s with the 3-minute hash marks that represent the former billing intervals of long-distance phone calls, 3, 6, 9, and of course there is a date with a monotone disc to keep it fairly discreet. All of this powered by Breitling manufacturer caliber B05. You can see the vintage double aircraft formation flight logo relieved and polished on a matte blasted base. All of this 100 meters water resistant. The B05 caliber is technically adept, featuring automatic winding, a 70-hour power reserve, a 8 beat per second or 28,800 vibration per hour beat rate, stop seconds, world time, and a chronograph with both a vertical clutch system, so you can leave the chronograph running full time, and there is no jump or stagger when you start the chronograph. And then there's the column wheel, which adds a crisp actuation. You feel it and hear it. Have a listen. It is also a COSC certified Swiss chronometer, and since we are speaking of column wheel feel, I put the Breitling B01 family, of which this B05 is a member, right up with the best in terms of feel and tuning, alongside Longa, Zenith, and Rolex for manufacture, column wheel, trigger, feel. Excellent stuff. Everything about this watch is larger than life, including the complexity. You could see it and make it yours on the watch box. Breitling Transocean Chronograph Unitime by night.